Yesterday I was at the Lego studio and I was constructing Lego City tables the entire day. Very successful day. Got all the wood cut. Now I just need to level them off. I still don't have those like hockey puck shims that I was talking about in yesterday's video, but they'll get here soon enough. There's still some other stuff that I can do before those arrive, like prep for those and start screwing the large sections of table together. So I hope to do that today. A little bit of a slower start to the day. It's already 9:40. Just brewing my first coffee now. And once that's ready to go, I'm gonna head on out to the studio so we can continue working on those tables. I want to get that done. I want to start like getting this stuff up off the floor, you know what I mean? It's gonna be awesome. Some people have been telling me to put the little screw adjusters on the bottom of the legs. I think I'm too far past that now. In order to do that, I would have to like take the leg off, put the screw adjuster on, and then put the leg back on. I use the big 4x4 post, so I'm okay with just putting the hockey puck shim underneath once they arrive. That should be good. I wonder how many times I've mentioned hockey pucks. I should be mentioning hockey pucks. You know why? Because it's NHL playoff season, baby, and the Edmonton Oilers play the Dallas Stars tonight, game number 1. Excited to see how that goes. Oh my gosh, it's going to be legendary. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty awesome day. Lego City table construction, some NHL hockey, and also going swimming with the kids. So I just came in through the back door and I thought to myself, holy, this is crazy. This is a lot of table. like a lot of table. Bam. Have to throw the wide angle lens on for that. Oh my gosh. Oh, I can't wait to get this finished. It's going to be awesome. I also need to go around today and just sort of clean up. I need to vacuum. There's like sawdust and wood chips and little pieces of Lego and extension cords and power tools and wood cutoffs everywhere. So I need to determine what actually needs to stay here at this point, because the majority of the wood cutting is done. For example, I don't think I need the table saw anymore, so it can go. I don't even think I need like the track saw anymore, so I can put that in a box and get it out of here. A lot of this scraps here I don't need, so I can start to condense a lot of that and sort of maybe shift it into the corner to try and get it out of the way and clear the wall space. All this is scrap over here as well. And there's like a big pile of scrap over here, which I'm going to use for like other things, like topping my shelving and putting raised platforms in throughout the city and stuff like that. So it's not scrap, but at this point I just don't need it. So I may as well start to clean this up and give this place a thorough vacuuming, because it is rough. Hey, it's funny, when I was cutting the sheets yesterday, I forgot to mention it in the video, Stings Bricks and I, his name is Tim, came by and he was helping me cut them, and we were actually cutting 3 sheets like stacked. So we were cutting 3 sheets at a time, and boy, oh boy, was that ever efficient. Hey, I forgot to mention too, Stings Bricks, he has a brick link store, as you probably know, because I've mentioned it in other videos, I guess, but he's actually doing a sale starting, I think, this Saturday. It's 10% off for all new customers and 20% off for all returning customers. So I'll definitely be peeping his brick link store this, this weekend here. Okay, so I want to like prep these tables for being leveled and screwed together. And it's going to sound ridiculous, but in order to do that properly and perfectly, I think I've actually got to remove all of the tops. So I'm actually going to remove all the tops, give this place a thorough vacuuming, and then start screwing these bad boys together. I've already got one section screwed together. I tried to do it this way, so I had the boards on their side, because that increases the amount of space that I have to crawl underneath here if I have to. But it just doesn't really work as well because it's not as strong. The wood is bowing, so I'm gonna have to turn it vertical just like I built, or just like I did with all my other wood. Of course, I would never do this. That is ridiculous. But when you're trying to create clearance for crawling underneath, that extra space right there is, you know, it's nice. It's nice to have. So that's why I tried to do that. But I just think the wood is going to be too bent, and I don't think it's going to be strong enough to allow me to do that. So it is what it is. What I could do if I truly wanted to is I could actually use a different style of wood. I don't know if these would be strong enough or not, but I used these for my legs once upon a time. So I could use those because these are as thick as the 2x4s or as 2x6s, but they're perfect squares. But they might not be perfectly straight either. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm gonna do a bunch of trial and error and get this place looking spiffy. So here we go. This will be quite the task. I'm gonna remove everything that doesn't belong on top of those tabletops, such as all the Lego, and then also all of the connecting wood as well. There's all that stuff along the walls. I want to try and sort that stuff. Eventually, when we get this full table construction done, I would like to get everything that doesn't belong in here out of here, so it's clean and tidy. That's my goal. I want to make this place as clean and tidy as possible, just because I want this place to present super well. And it's just like, I've worked so hard on it, I may as well make it look presentable. There shouldn't be wood leaning up against the walls. But with that said, there's about to be a lot more wood leaning up against the walls because I want to remove all the tabletops. These things are pretty heavy, but I needed the workout. I need the strength, you know? So just tilting them off the table and hauling them away. And with that, I am revealing the frames. You know what? It actually isn't too hard moving these on my own. And this entire process actually didn't even take that long. It was like under an hour. So it's not too bad at all. I'm glad that I was able to cut these tops when it was, optimal. And now we have them ready to go. So when I have this construction done, we can retop the tables very easily. It looks so much different when there's no tops on the table frames. Like, wow, that looks so cool. I love it. In a perfect world, I should have just ordered the wood to build the frames, built all the frames, leveled them all off, got them perfect, and then ordered the wood for the tabletops, cut the wood for the tabletops, and put it on top of the leveled out frames. But I wanted to make sure that I had all the supplies here so that when I had a helping hand, we could complete the tasks that take 2 people. For example, cutting these massive sheets, it takes 2 people. So why not have everything here and then cut the sheets when it's, optimal timing. Ah, man, that is so cool. Now I've got to go through and level all this stuff off. Oh no, I don't have the hockey puck thing, so I can't do that. But what I could do is I could cut all of my connecting 2x4s, so I removed these 2 that I had mounted sideways. I could remount those vertical. I'm gonna do them vertical because we have pieces of wood that look like this. Check it out. You see it? Yeah, those are both mounted in the center, either end, but it is bent. So I have to do all the bracing mounted vertical based on that fact, which isn't the best, but I'm okay with it. But yeah, I could probably connect all of the tables in all 3 different sections or areas. So I could do it here, there, and then I could do that 3 times and just get them all connected and ready to go. And then when those hockey puck things arrive, I can level them all off when they're sort of like one big solid unit, and then go from there. So that's probably what I'll do, just to sort of try and move forward, even though I don't have the right supplies to move forward. I think that makes sense. Also, some people have been saying, and I have thought of this as well, that this is a large span right here, and that I should probably put some 2x6 legs in the center going down. So 4 additional legs per large table. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I could do that. I do have the lumber to do that. So if it does start to bow, then I can definitely do that. Not too hard at all. Just cut them the same length as the 4x4 posts, and then literally like 2, maybe 4 screws to really lock in the leg. And then that'll provide more support and prevent bowing as well. But they're pretty rock solid. I mean, they're built like deck strong, so it is what it is. And like I've mentioned so many times, I can also add bracing going this way as well. Those would all have to be cut to custom sizes just because we have that bending wood effect going down, so I'd have to individually measure each one. It wouldn't all be the same. They would be off by whatever, 1/16 of an inch, so have to figure that out as well. But why don't I cut more of these braces and start installing those? All right, these two tables are now connected, and wow, it makes it look so much larger. It's wild. It also like strengthens everything because now we have braces going from this 2x4 on this table to that 2x4, so it strengthens it all, and it just makes it like one solid unit. So you've got a 6.5 base plate panel, which is going to go right there. There's 3 of them right here against the wall, sitting beside the 7 base plate panel. And those are just going to go right on there on top of those 2x4s. And of course, it's going to be the same over there. Now, I am a little bit concerned about the 7 base plate segment that's going to go on these 2x4s right here. I think I might have to change my design and throw in one more brace. So rather than doing a brace here and a brace here, what I'll do is probably move these so they're on the outside of these 4x4 posts. So I'll put one there and one there. But now it's a pretty big gap between those. So I'm also going to put one in the center. So rather than having 2 supports, I'll have 3 for the 7 base plate segments. Just because this spacing is sort of weird, ideally I'd like to have one like there-ish and one there-ish, and then it might be all right, but it might start to bow in the middle a little bit. So to cut an extra piece of wood and put it in there, I think it's the smart choice. I don't think these ones on the edge need 3. I think they'll be fine, but if there is an issue, then of course I can add another one. I could even add braces going this way. I could put one here to there. I could do that over here too instead. I could put this one here and that one over there and then do a center brace between the 2. That's an option too, but I may as well like connect these tables because it's in more places if I'm going to do it, because it's actually making it more square, it's making it more level as well. And as I go through and do this, I am doing some weird stuff to try and deal with like the curved boards. A lot of people are going to be like rolling their eyes at this, but for example, this board is curved. I could not get that board straight. It's straight over there, but then it's not straight here. So I like jammed some shims in between the connection point. Oh my gosh, people are going to hate me in the comment section, I'm sorry. But I put a shim in there and then I rammed the screw through, and that sort of made it level off. And what I could do, or what I am going to do, like I've said a bajillion times, is make sure this is all squared off. There's 2 things that I might go buy from the Home Depot actually, or from any hardware store. I might go buy a belt sander. I think that would be nice to have in my tool bag. And I might go buy a nail gun too. So if I need to like put this shim here and just poof, bump a nail into it, and then it's there permanently, like, well, not permanently, but like semi-permanently, so it doesn't fall off when I'm adjusting the tabletops, that would be cool. And then a belt sander would be awesome for like getting these like minor imperfections, like right there. If I were to just belt sand that, well, then that would be beauty and make it nice and smooth and everything would be flush. And there's just a lot of instances where a belt sander would come in handy just to sort of get rid of these little tiny imperfections. And then maybe I wouldn't have to use like as many shims absolutely everywhere if I were just to belt sand that. I know that sort of like permanently allocates this wood to this layout because you've like belt sanded it in a weird spot. It's like, okay, well, why is it sanded in this specific corner? But I don't think this is going to change very often, and I'm okay with allocating this wood to these, or to this table layout permanently. Like even this 4x4 post, it's flush there, but then it comes up a bit. So if I were just to grab a belt sander and just belt sand the crap out of that it would be fine. Or I guess I could just undo one of the screws, kick out the leg, or yeah. Okay, well, that was a bad example because all I had to do was just kick the leg. All I had to do was kick the leg and then I'll shim it. But even so, a belt sander would help eliminate all of this different stuff. So I might go do that. I was actually looking at a Ryobi one. It was like $65. Like, are you kidding me? I've got this chop saw that Jose got me. This thing is brilliant. It has not let me down at all. It is awesome. Ryobi tools are so cheap for like the everyday user, or not the everyday user, but just like the casual user like myself. These things have just been coming in handy. Oh man. Okay, well, I'm going to continue screwing these tables together. However, there is a situation. I forgot to run the rest of my 2x4s, not these ones, but these ones over here, through the table saw and flatten the edge. And I'm like getting lazy. I'm like, maybe I should just not do it on these ones. And it's like, oh man, I gotta do it. So now I've gotta set up the table saw again and rip these through the table saw. Oh, that is annoying. I might just do it outside on the floor, like just do it on the ground so I don't have to like set up the table system and all that, just because it's sort of a pain and there's not really room to do it in here anymore. So I've got to go set up the table saw again. I wish I would have remembered to do those yesterday when I had the table saw set up, but I may as well not cut any corners and get this done correctly, I guess. Hey, but I'm super happy with the outcome of that. That is awesome. Like, wow. I'm like fired up. I'm glad that I'm doing this today because now it'll become one solid unit. A massive solid unit. Plus the Oilers are playing tonight. I gotta go to my kid's swimming lesson though. That is in an hour and 15 minutes. So definitely not enough time to set up the table saw, is it? Maybe. I also remember that I've got a couple 2x4s in the furnace room. I forgot about that. But then when I was building the space display, I looked down to the furnace room and was like, hey, there's a couple 2x4s there. Good. Perfect. Because I need those for adding the center braces that I just talked about. I feel like I'm going to run out of 2x4s though, despite having so much cutoff. But 2x4s are super cheap and they fit my car, so it's not the end of the world. Always going back to the Home Depot, like just constantly. I'm really going to think about that belt sander though. I think that would come in handy. I have an orbital sander at home, but I don't think that'll do the job. Like a belt sander would just power through it. Orbital sander, I think I'd be sitting there for a long time. I want to get that. It's funny, whenever I work with tradespeople, like I was working with Paul building this place, and he's got like every tool. He's a tradesman. He's got every tool. He's like a handyman. He does it all, right? So he's got all the tools. And every time I work with them, because I've worked with them for years, I'm like, oh man, I need to buy that. Oh man, I need to buy that. Oh, that drill bit, that's cool. I need that. I need that. I need these clamps. I need that. I need that. So it's like what I should be doing is making this long list of tools that I want to get, and just go to the Home Depot one day and just like spend like a stupid amount of money on just getting all these little things and just decking out my toolkit, just because I do a lot of this style of stuff. So I need, so I need the right tools, because having the right tools is the key to making the job easy, right? For sure. Okay, well, I better quit talking and getting distracted and get back to work here. Just got to go swimming soon. Maybe I can come back after swimming, but I also want to go home and mow the lawn and get ready for that hockey game. So we'll see. I ended up running all the wood that I have on site through the table saw, and I cut them to the right length as well. After that, Stingsrick stopped by on his lunch break, and he hauled a load of garbage out of here for me. He's like, don't worry about it. I've got a wood dumpster at work. I can take all your like weird cut stuff. So he cleaned up this whole area for me. What a beauty. It's funny, he rolled up, and I was using the table saw out back. And he's like, oh, I see you're still at it. It's like, yep. And he's like, oh, what, did you move all of the topping on your own this morning? I was like, yep. He's like, you're crazy. So yeah, no worries, we're gonna get this stuff done, let's go. But now I've only got about half an hour of time left before I have to go, so I gotta try and get as many of these installed as I possibly can. This table, not quite done yet because I wanna make that change to the center bracing. This one here has the exterior done, so there's 2 braces there, and 2 on the far side as well. And then I did the one in the center, so it needs 2 more. And that's 1 here and 1 on the other side as well. So we need 2 more pieces of wood for that, 1 more piece of wood for that, so that's 7 pieces. And then we need a grand total of 7 for this connection piece here. So we need 10 pieces of wood in total. My count says we have 1 over there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need to buy 4 more 2x4s. I could cut down my 2x6s, but that sounds like a lot of effort, and 2x4s are relatively cheap. So I'd prefer just to buy some new ones and then repeat the same process. And yeah, that's really about all I can get done for right now. Will I return later on tonight? I guess we'll find out later on in this video. But yeah, there's been a lot of comments in regards to, hey, you can just grab your 2x6s, rip them down to 2x4s. But I've been told from a very experienced woodworker that that'll be really hard on a table saw. Like taking 1/8 of an inch off, no problem. But if you want to rip like 30 2x6s down to 2x4s, it's going to put a lot of like pressure on the saw. Probably wouldn't advise it, just based on the fact that
2x4s are really cheap, so I would just go buy 2x4s rather than doing that. There's been some other comments saying that what you should do instead of buying 4x4 posts is do the same thing. Rip the 2x6s down to 2x4s and connect 2 of them together to create a 4x4 post. But it's like 8 legs would cost me $50 to have matching like to go to the hardware store, buy 2 12-foot lengths of 4x4 posts, have them cut them down to my lengths. I get 8 legs out of that for $50. Going through the labor of like ripping all the wood down and joining them and all that, and then they don't match. It's just like, you know what, like sometimes labor and time and effort outweighs the cost of just going out and buying what you need. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like, hey, well, yeah, I could spend half a day doing that, or I could just go to the hardware store and have it done in 10 minutes. Sometimes it's just like, it doesn't make sense. But either way, I'm gonna go do some swimming. You can bank on me coming back with that swimming pool hair, everybody. Whew, went to the Home Depot, picked up some more screws. Should have just bought the 250 pack last time I was there. Oh my gosh, you go through a lot of screws. Now I bought 2 overpriced 100 packs. Ah, it is what it is. But I picked up the 2x4s as well, so I can cut those down and install them. I don't know if I'll get that done tonight. I want to watch the hockey game, so I better get working. Back to work I go. Oh man, I'm excited about these tables. It is just looking mighty fine. Before I start doing any more physical labor though, I've got to feed myself. I've got this really bad habit of skipping lunch. Like I always eat breakfast in the morning. I think that's the most important meal of the day. You got to get started, you know? You got to eat breakfast. But then like sometimes, you know, you get busy and then 5 or 6 o'clock rolls around. It's like, man, I haven't eaten since like 8 a.m. What's wrong with me? And I think that's why I remain skinny to this day. Then I go home, eat dinner, and then, you know, I have a little snack. That's, for the most part, about it. Look at it from up here. Whew. I cannot wait for that to be a massive Lego city. The tables just look, the frames just look so much better when they're all screwed together like that. That's why I'm so eager to get it done today. There we go. It's all done. Just kidding. You know that it's not all done. There's still lots of stuff that needs to happen, but look at that. All 4 frames are screwed together. That looks crazy. I know I say a lot of things look crazy, but legitimately, that's wild. That's so cool. All 4 frames screwed together. Oh, wow, that is so much lumber. I'm glad I decided to remove the tops for this process too, for like screwing it all together, because the tops just got in the way. Like those should have came last, you know? We've got to get these things leveled and screwed together before we start topping it. But I was just excited. We had it all cut, so I just wanted to visualize what it was going to look like. Of course, I could go through and visualize it again by putting all the tops back on, but no, I'm not going to do that until we're actually finalized, ready to go, to put the tops on and start screwing them in place. Now, there's not very many weak points in this table. For example, I can sit on this right here, and this is one of the braces that I just installed. I can sit on pretty much any piece of lumber in this frame. The only weak points are on either end, where we have these long stretches right here, and I've contemplated adding legs there, but I can still sit on this. It might bow eventually, but I do have some 2x6s, and I actually set one up as an example over here. So this is what I could do. Just put the leg on, essentially. I use a 2x6 as a leg. But for some reason, it's just bothering me. It doesn't really look that good. I don't think that's going to look good. It's because it doesn't match up with the other legs. That's why I didn't use the 2x6s to begin with. Another thing I could do is just literally brace this board to that board and brace that board to that board, and only do that on the end tables, or I could do it all the way through as well. But I think I'm ready to tack, like put the wood on after it's leveled, tack it in place, like I'm talking this wood here, tack it in place and then see how strong it is, and then if I need to add the leg after that, no big deal. Look at that. Oh, I am so happy with the results of the last couple days. Like, this is so cool. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be like a huge Lego city. I know there are lots of different ways that this could be done. Like for example, I was talking about it yesterday. I could have done the perimeter layout, but there's other YouTube Lego cities that have perimeter layouts, and there's other YouTube cities that are sort of like this too, but this is sort of like my thing. Like I like to make big rectangular layouts with access holes because I think you can create epic Lego cities with this layout that sort of represent, you know, real, well, maybe not real cities, but I don't know. I just think they present better when they're like this, and it's just sort of like the vibe that I like. So that's why I decided to run with this layout. Yeah, that is so cool, man. So now I've just got to wait for those blasted hockey pucks to arrive. And speaking of hockey pucks, I'm going to head home and watch the hockey game because it starts in like 25 minutes. If I rip home right now, I can watch puck drop. So I better do that. And then I can edit this video during the intermissions. It's the perfect plan. I'm glad I came back and did this. So happy with the day, that's for sure. That about wraps it up though, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this vlog here of me fixing up the tables and getting them ready for the next phase of construction. Thank you so much for coming on by. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Whew, farewell.